And a
Absolutely.
lot of people don't like the numbers. I know that it scares them. But if you don't have a way to track it, like I'm paying him. I said, I could look at my bank account to see if it's working, but I need to know where it's working, why it's working. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. If you can't measure it, it might as well not be happening.
Okay.
You might as well be going to Vegas and playing the slot machines and hoping that that works.
So let me ask you, getting back to the whole Facebook group, because I think
Absolutely.
maybe if you took us through your steps on how you did it, maybe we can use that as a template. Is that possible?
Absolutely. I mean, I would go so far as to say there's not like any huge mysteries of what I did to grow the group. And I will say that it has grown in phases. You know, the thing that you have to remember with growing a Facebook group is that some of those metrics get harder to manage because you've got like so many different layers of things going on. So if you go back and you say, okay, I'm going to start a Facebook group, one of the things that you need to be doing early on is trying to capture email addresses. So one of the mistakes I made was not capturing email addresses and not capturing likes on a business page. You can
Okay,
do one or the other to target people.
let's step back a little.
Uh-huh.
You said that you started the group like on a lark.
I did.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
It was like, oh, this sounds like a good enough idea at the time, right? Getting people together that are entrepreneurs, having discussions about business, supporting other people, and they'll eventually support me too.
So did you like come up with a written plan, like this is what I want to accomplish, or did
Oh,
you
heck no.
bring it?
It was just totally winged.
Okay.
And I actually don't really recommend that for people if I can help it. It's like, okay, so what is the purpose of this group? And really taking a step back, because I've had to go and figure out those things after my group grew explosively. I figured out the growth part, but I didn't figure out the monetization part. I didn't figure out all of the objectives part initially. And that has been a very costly mistake. So understanding what your business objectives are for a group, if you're growing a business related group in any way, shape, form, or fashion, is super important. So, begin with the end in mind, as, Stephen Covey would say.
So you didn't follow your own advice.
Absolutely not. I just did it because I thought it would be fun,
And
and it has been fun.
Successful ventures start out that way.
Absolutely. And I have made money, and it has been so much fun and so much support. And a lot of my best raving fans come out of that group.
So I started a group last night.
Mm-hmm.
There's one member, me.
Right. And then what do you do with it, right?
Well, first, and you're telling me now, I got to think, what is my purpose of this group?
Right. So understanding who you want in that group, is kind of the first objective. So I knew I wanted women business owners in that group and a few smart men. So what I did is I sat out and I messaged friends that I knew. I did not send people friend requests and then instantly message them and ask them if they wanted to join my group. I sent out messages to a few people that I knew who I thought would be a good fit for the group. And I invited them personally and said, hey, I just started this new group. I just wanted to invite you. So that was phase one. Invite. Whether it was people on LinkedIn, whether it was people on Facebook.
Okay.
And it's worth noting that not all of your traffic is going to come straight from Facebook. You can attract people from other platforms.
Oh, that's a good point.
You can send them emails. You can send them a text message. You can contact people in other ways. So don't think that you are bound to only Facebook if it's a Facebook group.
Right.
I mean, yes, the group is on Facebook and the person has to have an account on Facebook, but you're not stuck recruiting only on Facebook.
Right.
And that's kind of like one of the first biggest laws that I think to some people is like this like mind blown kind of a thing. Oh, you mean I don't only have to get people from Facebook? And the answer is no.
You know, you say it and it seems obvious, but my mindset, I'm not thinking of marketing to my LinkedIn followers about my Facebook group, but why not?
But why wouldn't you?
Because I'm thinking it's Facebook.
Right. But how many people are on LinkedIn that are also on Facebook?
Oh my God,
Most.
I have 5 times more followers on LinkedIn than on Facebook.
Exactly. But people are more likely to engage in a Facebook group than they are in a LinkedIn group.
Right, I got that.
Yeah.
So,
So then
right,
you get people to join your Facebook group. You send invitations. That's round one. Round one is the easy one.
okay.
No, think of ways that you know of that you can get people into your group. If you have a Twitter account, putting a pinned post on your Twitter account, tweeting about it. If you have any amount of followers, Twitter and Pinterest are tremendous traffic drivers.
Okay.
Making sure that you're just going out and putting stuff out there, it's amazing.
So it's the activity. You have to have
it's the activity. You have to invite people. If they don't know it exists, then how are they going to find it?
And I saw you're very active in the group. I mean, you have a lot of posts.
Right. And I schedule content into the group. So I do a mix of handwritten content and scheduled content using Meet Edgar or Buffer or whatever. I make a point of sharing content into the group. So I plan that content out. And Meet Edgar allows me to reuse content. So if you think about it, you never want to be in that situation where you're like, oh, well, I created 90 posts. And it's really easy to create 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 posts in a day or two, right? Using Canva to make the graphics all pretty.
Okay.
And then you can upload them to Meet Edgar and have one a day post into your group.
Okay, wait. So those tools, that's Canva. I'm familiar with that.
Canva for the graphics.
And what's the other one?
Meet Edgar.
Meet Edgar?
It's a social media post scheduler.
Okay.
And so the beauty with Meet Edgar is that it will allow you to reuse content.
Okay. Repurpose.
Which is absolutely invaluable in a case where you're on LinkedIn, you're on Facebook in a group, you're on Facebook on a page. Because if you can reuse content every so often, I'm not saying reuse it 3 times a week, but if you reuse it every 4 months, nobody's going to remember having seen that post in the first place.
Oh, really? So you can just recycle the post.
Uh-huh. Absolutely. And you can go in every so often and freshen them up and get rid of ones you don't like, add a few more. Go into Canva, you can create a batch of 30 real quick. Takes an hour or two.
Oh, so you have a whole...
Boom, 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 boom. Drop them right into Canva.
What you're telling me is you pretty much have a system for creating the content.
Absolutely. And having a system for developing your content is important. And pre-doing the content, don't rely on doing it at the last minute.
Like I do.
Right. And how consistent are you able to be if you're doing your content at the last minute?
And that's part of, and I know this is what I teach about developing the right habits. And I'm trying to be a good client of my own, but it's not easy. It's developing a new habit.
Well, and if you think of it this way, as opposed to trying to come up with new content every day and white knuckling it, what if we put infrastructure in place that made it hard for you to fail?
That's what you do, right?
Right, exactly. I mean, that's what I do with marketing. That's what I do in my life. That's how I've lost 135 pounds.
Wow.
By putting infrastructure into my life that makes it hard for me to fail. So the way that you make it hard for you to fail is that you set up 4 days a year, maybe 5 or 6, preferably 4, 1 a quarter. You pencil it in on your calendar, you pull up your phone, you schedule that day as your 8-hour block to create social media posts.
Really?
Do it in chunks. Create a spreadsheet, write down all your ideas, and you can either do just written posts or you can do graphic posts, and you can use Canva to do it. If you're really not graphically inclined, trust me, I have a graphic designer. I have people in the Philippines. I have people in the US who can create you batches of content for a few $100.
Right.
Like, you tell them what you want, they will create it, and bada bing, bada boom, you have content.
You want to systematize it.
You systematize it. You make it hard to fail. Anytime you have to rely on remembering to do an activity every single day, you're going to fail because you're not going to do it. You're going to wake up one morning and be like, I don't feel like the Instagram today.
I know. Or you sit there and you're like, I can't, my brain isn't working today.
Right, exactly. The brain took a day off. I have the flu. I'm sick. I'm whatever.
Yeah.
So how do you show up consistently? You schedule it.
The way that I was thinking, this is why I love doing these interviews, because I keep getting a little bit closer, like, oh, this thing fits.
Yeah.
I was approaching it like, okay, I got to set aside an hour on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to do my blog post.
Mm-mm.
You're telling me there's another way to do it.
Absolutely.
Because I'm like, 3 times a week I have this block, and then what if I don't?
What if you don't feel like it? What if you have clients?
That's what usually happens. I don't. But then at 11 o'clock at night, I get this.
Right.
And I'm up till 3 in the morning writing.
Right. And if part of your business is that you're writing blog posts, schedule days to write blog posts, turn off the phone, and make those days unavailable to clients.
Okay.
Make that planning time. And this is operations 101, right?
Yeah.
Devote time to your business planning and eliminate the distractions.
That, because I've been doing that with my accounting practice my whole career. I used to just set aside a day to answer notices.
Mm-hmm.
I would let the notices pile up for a week or two.
Right.
And instead of answering one, I would just spend the whole, and I got it done. You're right. You brought that back to me.
Right. And it applies to marketing. It applies to your operations. It applies to, if you're going to send out emails to your list, nobody said you had to write them one at a time.
So, yeah.
There's no rules that say you have to do it all there. And the thing is, like, people will push back on me. Well, people might see the Meet Edgar thing or, whatever. I'm like, well, you can use Facebook Creator Studio for your business page posts and your Instagram posts so that you don't see the Meet Edgar there. And honestly, in your group, nobody's really going to care if you batch it and use a little scheduler there and then you use some of the Meet Edgar stuff. They don't really care.
Right. They just want good information.
Right. And you can show up when you are able and feeling up to it to hop in and do a Facebook Live, schedule a Facebook Live once a week. You don't have to be beholden to the Monday, Wednesday, Friday drudge.
Right.
If you want to show up once a week and do a Facebook Live, you can record it, turn it into a podcast, put it up on YouTube, slice it 15 different ways to Texas, and you've got content for months on one single video.